trigger warning. We're gonna talk about some stuff that has happened to me, some stuff around food, around consumption, around diet culture a little bit, and I need to share a few things that I used to feel really uncomfortable even thinking about or addressing that I've now had a chance to speak with mental health professionals about. And so I want to preface this with a trigger warning for mental health, for bodies, for nutrition, etc.
BetterHelp is also sponsoring a portion of this video, which is how I started to think about some of the issues that I used to have, and I kind of want to talk about those. That's how this came to mind.
But comes with a trigger warning in case that is a topic that is uncomfortable for others to hear. If so, just be aware that that's coming in this video. Thank you. We need to talk about supplements, the clean detox movement, and women's health. And I specifically need to share things that I used to think were true that I've come a long way from and learned from. I'm a little bit under the weather. I don't know if you can hear, but like my voice feels like it has like razor blades in it. And as I was making myself some echinacea tea and grabbing these, little throat lozenges, I remembered back to a time where I was obsessed with taking supplements. Like, I would have been one of Gwyneth Paltrow's perfect customers because even though I loved skincare and I was interested in science and emergency medicine, I thought that natural was better. I drank, not the Kool-Aid, but the green juice, okay? I used to take a massive amount of supplements, but like I had a garlic supplement. I had a caffeine pill that was supposed to stimulate metabolism. I had aloe vera, which was like a laxative, and we need to talk about that because you don't need to be taking laxatives if you're not constipated, right? I used to take a woman's multivitamin and then other vitamins on top of it. And I legit had like a pill case that was an extra large just to fit all of these supplements that I was taking. And as I was grabbing these little throat lozenges and echinacea tea, like a little something extra this morning, it brought me back to that mental state that I don't think I realized was not super healthy. And recently, Gwyneth Paltrow did an interview talking about her health and wellness journey. And for anyone who watched it, I think everyone was a little bit alarmed about her detox that she was perpetually on.
I have bone broth for lunch a lot of the days. For dinner, I try to eat, according to paleo. So lots of vegetables. It's really important for me to support my detox.
A lot of people were commenting on her image. Let's not comment on that because we don't have all of the context behind the scenes. But just based on what she said that she does or does not do or consume, it's really concerning. And as a reminder, this is someone who runs a multi-million-dollar health and wellness company who's perpetuating the idea of fasting and skipping meals, which for some could be healthy if done correctly, right? But then consuming black coffee, bone broth for lunch, which isn't even soup, like just the bone broth, and then, some form of paleo protein, very basic dinner. Then sweating and exercising, like doing a difficult workout with hardly any nutrients or glucose, aka sugar and fuel into the body and into the brain. It was kind of alarming to a lot of people who watched it, including me. And I feel like we need to talk about that. I want to share with you the supplements that I am currently taking because I literally take 2, if even, which is a huge difference from where I used to be. And I want to talk about this wellness culture and how it's changed with social media kind of right before our eyes, because I didn't have someone to talk to me about that when I was younger. And looking back, like there are some things that are a little bit strange, that are just a little bit weird that I realized I and probably many other people used to do. So let's start with our skincare. I know I took my hair down, but let's put it back up. So going back to when I was taking all of these supplements, and again, I think I took this video off the internet because it was not good, it was not healthy. I was taking maybe 8 to 10 supplements a day, and I was taking them morning and evening. And I even saw a comment when I was like looking through that video, and someone said, why take a garlic pill when you could just eat garlic? And that was so profound to me because I was like, holy shit, like what was I doing? When food grows in the ground, it is packaged by nature in a certain way that like you have fiber and antioxidants and you literally have the benefits of that food together. And sometimes when we extract those things, it doesn't always work out good. And this is one of the biggest issues of the health and wellness industry is that supplements are largely unregulated. A lot of people don't know that, but if you ever look at like supplements, you can turn it around and on the back it says like, these claims are not regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. Now, some issues with the Food and Drug Administration, I actually just sprayed this in my eye. This is the Superoxide Dismutase from Niod. I call it like the big sister to the ordinary. It's like the grown-up older PhD sister because of how much tech goes into these skincare products, but I absolutely just sprayed this antioxidant spray right into my eyeball, so that's lovely. But the supplement industry is largely unregulated because nobody really governs what happens. Now, that doesn't mean that all supplements on the market are bad. Again, there are ones that I do really like and actually take, but it does mean that there are a lot of things out there that aren't being checked, aren't being regulated, and that's bad because regulation makes sure that companies, for-profit companies, are held to a standard, which if they're not, and if it's just a random supplement making random claims, that's a huge concern. I specifically remember I was taking a caffeine metabolism boosting supplement years ago, and I didn't even realize it could be contributing to like anxiety or other things that caffeine can cause, right? But there was this news story that I had come across where a guy was taking a workout supplement that had caffeine or something in it. It was being mislabeled because it was unregulated. It was coming over from overseas. This supplement, this workout, this pre-workout drink was giving people heart attacks, literally changing your biochemistry and causing the heart to contract and beat irregularly. And if your heart's not beating, you're not doing too well, babies. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was kind of a wake-up call for me a little while ago. I want to talk about what I've been taking because it's literally two things, but I was recently talking about this with a therapist, and I think it's really important to talk about this, and I need to kind of like open up here. Basically, even as I was kind of thinking about some of these things and looking at Gwyneth Paltrow's video and like looking at the wellness industry, I was wondering, was I struggling with a form of eating disorder not diagnosed or with like orthorexia? So I've been talking to my BetterHelp therapist about this, and then I do have a psychologist who does treat and diagnose certain mental conditions. But we were talking about orthorexia, and orthorexia is a condition that it sounds similar to anorexia, but it's not, and it's this obsession with being healthy. Now, I don't believe this is in the DSM. The DSM is basically the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders and Diseases, and it's constantly being updated because we're constantly learning more about mental health, right? The brain is like the one organ that even if we cut it open, we can't understand every single way that it works with consciousness and thoughts, right? We can definitely dissect it and analyze it and, you know, cut it open and look at it. We can lobotomize it if we want to, but unlike the heart or the kidneys or these other organs, like we don't understand the brain. It's such a mystery in so many ways. And when it comes to mental health and just understanding the brain, it can be very interesting and very difficult. And I was speaking with my BetterHelp therapist about this and just kind of talking and getting things off my shoulders about like these weird things that I used to do, like being obsessed with these supplements. And I would literally get anxiety if I didn't take like all of these supplements every day. And again, when speaking with mental health experts, you obviously need to talk to what's right for you. But I don't know, were those like weird behaviors that I didn't realize that I had? Or like I used to save the wrappers to certain foods that I liked. And then it turned into saving the wrappers of like the foods that I would eat. And like, that was really, really strange. And it didn't really fit within the boxes of, you know, what you would find in specific, more common eating disorders. And again, trigger warning, we're going to talk about like body and health stuff, but like, it's not what you would find in necessarily anorexic behavior or bulimia behavior. But it was like, is it undiagnosed behavior? Is it orthorexia behavior? And it was at the time that my acne was at its worst and I was struggling so much with my skin. Was there some correlation between my stress, my need to feel a sense of agency or control over my skin? My grandfather was dying and I was super stressed. Did that come out in my tendencies to save food wrappers or take an obsessive amount of supplements? Just really, really strange. Also, this right here is Erborian Korean skincare therapy. This is actually phenomenal. Windy Skin. If you don't follow her, you need to. I'm sure you've seen her shorts. She dyes her hair all the time. She was testing this and I went down and got it. I was like, I need to try this. It has 17 super ingredients in one serum and almost, oh my God, it kind of reminds me of like a multivitamin for your skin because if it has everything in one, you don't need to take a million things. That's how I'm using it at least. And that's kind of how I've transitioned into the current supplements that I'm taking. So let me talk about the two supplements that I'm taking and then when I switch it up. But again, I just want to make a huge disclaimer that I'm talking about things that I've never been able to talk about before because I've never been able to fully actualize them or like realize and look at things from an objective perspective and be like, huh, that was actually kind of strange, or I hid that and maybe that wasn't normal, or like why did I feel shame or guilt around these habits, right? And mental health is different for everyone, but if you need help or support, I would highly, highly, highly recommend getting it. Specifically, I've been using BetterHelp, and I know we've spoken about them before. I've used them for over a year. I'm also using Black Girl Sunscreen for my sunscreen today. I absolutely love this. It's the SPF 30. Gives me a little bit of a glow. But BetterHelp is working with us on a portion of this video to try to make mental health accessible for others. They pair you with a licensed therapist, and it's something you can do on your phone. Again, this is something that I've used for over a year, and I want to be very clear. They match you with licensed therapists who have specialties in certain areas, for example, in family and marriage counseling, or you can get someone who's specialized with eating disorders or body conditions or insecurities. And when I was originally trying to find my psychologist, which is a doctor that helps diagnose mental health disorders, there wasn't like a really good way for me to get around the issues that I was having with my insurance, or to be able to kind of find someone who checked all those boxes for me. And again, I'm super privileged that I'm able to have both. That's something that really works for me, and as I've been struggling this year, it's something that I've needed. And then I don't currently take any medications for mental health, but I do have a psychiatrist who diagnoses and prescribes medications. And I want to be super clear, like BetterHelp does not give you medication for mental health, but if you need someone to talk to, life can be hard. And I've texted my BetterHelp therapist at like 4 a.m. and she has responded. And it was because of that conversation that I was having with her that kind of sparked, you know, some of these thoughts about the detox industry and the weird things that I used to do, and kind of looking back on that from a new lens. And her job is to literally walk me through that, to help me process these things, and then give me tools to take on the future. And that's what a good therapist should do, right? They should be a non-biased source of information that's medically licensed. Again, this is regulated, and this is why regulation in supplements and in therapy is good, because it is difficult to just, you know, blindly take advice from people that aren't qualified to give it to you. But if you've been struggling, and if you've wanted someone to talk to, if you feel like you need goals or accountability partners, or if you need someone to help you work through a difficult situation and actually give you tools to be able to analyze that situation and make the right decisions for yourself, that's what a therapist can do. And if you'd like to try BetterHelp, it's something that can be done on the phone through video, talk, and text. It's something that I've used for over a year. I've personally been really happy with it and seen a ton of benefit because of using BetterHelp in combination with my psychologist and my psychiatrist. And it brought me to a lot of these revelations that I don't know if I otherwise would have had as quickly. If you would like a discount, there is one listed right here. I'll also link it in the description below. And again, thank you to BetterHelp for not only helping support this channel and the people that I get to work with to help make this content, but also for supporting mental health, because I didn't think that there was a BetterHelp when I was like 16, but I wonder if things would have changed, or if I could have spoken in the moment about those weird tendencies that I was having, if that would have been different for me. And sometimes we as humans do strange things, and sometimes we don't realize that those things might not be healthy or might be disordered. Dis meaning not, right? And ordered meaning orderly. It's causing disorder or chaos in our lives. And quite often talking with an expert can help identify that. So all of that is listed in the description below, but essentially I went from taking all of these supplements, literally, you know, a giant handful twice a day, to none. And I was kind of doing something similar to what I'm doing now, where I was, ooh, that was a burp, excuse me. I was like traveling and like trying to escape my own life, I guess. Wow, like I'm going through a really rough time this year mentally, but like I wasn't thinking about how it was years ago, back when I was taking all these supplements and I was going through another really tough time. And I guess the way that I stopped, you know, trying to be so rigid with like all of this weird supplementation was literally me just like traveling. And I got into the modeling industry like full force then. Like I was in New York doing like fashion week, and there were a lot of things in the modeling industry that I made excuses for, that I thought was normal because it looked normal for me from that vantage point. But when you're on the outside looking in, you're like, oh no, honey, that's not okay that they did that. But I started traveling, and I think that because of those barriers of traveling, I couldn't carry like 500, you know, large containers of stuff with me every day. And so I wasn't able to keep up with that. And, you know, I used to take photos of food after, I couldn't like take the wrappers with me. So then I would like take pictures of what I would eat. It was like a way for me to like track things. And it's not bad to track what you're eating. It's not bad to track, you know, what you're consuming and making sure that you're healthy. But it was definitely weird. And it's not until I spoke about it and like I'm looking back, I'm like, that was strange. And I'm really glad that I was able to kind of fade out of it. Now, what am I currently taking? Because it's like totally different. I used to be taking all of these multivitamins. I take 2. And I don't just take these because I like saw them on the internet and like I need to take them. I have done that. Like this was handed to me and I started trying to take it, and it's literally powdered kombucha supplement. But when you look at the ingredients, it says sweetened with stevia. The first ingredient is crystalline fructose. Like this is basically sugar. Fructose is basically fruit sugar, and it doesn't change your insulin levels and spike your insulin the same way that glucose does, or like table sugar does, or sucrose, right? I just looked at this and there's fermented sugar cane in here, fruit and vegetable powders, and basically fructose. And I was like, wow, again, here's a supplement. It's saying that it's like kombucha, and all it is some flavors and sugar. So disappointing. And I used to just take supplements like this that were handed to me or that I saw someone else using. I was like, oh, that looks good, right? And I would just take it. Now I take what's right for me based on my blood work. I literally am very grateful. I get my blood work done, and I'm grateful to have the ability to get my labs done and to look at my nutrition. And my iron and vitamin D and my B levels are pretty fine. But to keep them there, I supplement. And because I am a vegan, I am a plant-based person, I do take a B12 supplement. Now this one is my favorite. This is the biologically active form of B12, which is also cyanocobalamin. It's the same stuff that's in that Ordinary's pink serum, but this is methyl B12. So it's bioavailable, meaning my body can take it and absorb it. I love this because they taste so good. Now, my iron levels are usually fine, but for those who don't know, I have a duplicated reproductive serum. What the f? I have a duplicated reproductive system. I'm just thinking about serums and how much I love them. I have a duplicated reproductive system, and my periods are really heavy. There's kind of like two periods. There's like the trigger of the hormone, the start, and then the second one, because I have 2 uteruses as well. And when we want to talk about blood loss, baby, we got to talk about blood loss. And at the end of that cycle, I can be like borderline anemic, and it's crazy. You can see my levels like be normal and like absolutely tank. So during that time of the month, I do take an iron supplement. This is the Blood Builder. It's called the Blood Builder, but like actually look at the ingredients. This has vitamin B12, it has iron, 144% of your daily recommended dose, and also has vitamin C and folate, which can help iron be absorbed better. And as someone who drinks coffee a ton, a lot of people don't realize that drinking coffee or caffeine can inhibit or prevent and kind of slow down and stop the absorption of iron into your GI tract. So if you take coffee and iron-rich foods, you might not be absorbing all those nutrients. So I do supplement with iron when I'm after that time of the month, especially if it's been like a really, really bad one. And then if I am like on major amounts of coffee, this is something that I'll do, but it's not every day. Now, I don't do these together because this has vitamin B12 in it. This has 1,250% of your daily recommended needs. It's cyanocobalamin, it's not methyl B12, but I don't need both of these, so I don't need to double up. So I'll just take one or the other depending on what time of month it is. And then the only other thing I take is a vitamin D. This right here is a multivitamin 18+, but it's basically a vitamin D. Vitamin D is phenomenal. There is a receptor for vitamin D on almost every single cell in your body, and it is essential. And for me, my vitamin D wasn't super low, but it was kind of getting there. Hypothyroidism, basically low thyroid, runs in my family. And while I'm in the normal range, I was like on the low end, and vitamin D is something that my doctor specifically recommended. So for a while, I was being prescribed a vitamin D. I've taken a lot of over-the-counter ones, but I just take this one. And this one is an 18+. This one is from Ritual. They have a whole bunch of other ingredients in here. Like they have like magnesium and folate and a little bit of iron and fatty acids. And this is something that I can take every day, and it's literally just one thing, and I'm good to go. It's kind of like this, right? It's like a multivitamin that takes care of everything. What I really like is that this is like a mint flavor, so it doesn't taste nasty. Oh my God, this, I feel like I'm going to like a gay every time I try to take one of these because they taste so disgusting. The iron ones, so gross. But this one is actually pleasant to take. It's kind of like this, like it actually tastes good, but it tastes like minty and fresh. And that is basically it. I did have this, and I was trying these for a little while, Irestore 3-in-1 growth formula. I'll still take this every now and again. This is a DHT blocker. Basically, the sex hormones that we all have in our bodies can impact hair loss. So this is something that I kind of have on the side. But again, I don't feel the compulsive need to take these or 500 other things. I'm like, I can take them when I need them. I get my blood work checked, and if I skip a day, I'm not freaking out about it. Whereas before, I really used to freak out about it, especially when I was on SSRIs, medications that are prescribed for like depression or anxiety. You need to take those regularly. But I would have like legit anxiety attacks if I didn't take my meds regularly, and then my supplements to go along with them. And I think it's also important to talk about supplementation in food, right? Because just like this claims to be a kombucha drink, it's really not. There are things like actual foods that have medicinal benefits, right? Even things like matcha green tea. Love matcha green tea. I used to get the one ones from Pique. I might actually get more of those. I love Pique. They're basically teas, just like my little echinacea here, but they're like made for on the go. I used to take their vitamin C as well, but matcha is something I still love. And matcha is fantastic because it's full of antioxidants. It's got a small amount of caffeine, but again, like this is nature's package of caffeine, right? Why was I taking a caffeine metabolism boosting supplement when this has been shown to boost metabolism, boost the brain? And yeah, you can see it as a supplement, but it's also just a tea drink that's been used ceremonially in Japan and other areas of the world for thousands of years. And especially in a wellness world where we see the Kardashians peddling these weight loss lollipops, or we see Gwyneth Paltrow talking about like these insane diets that are not healthy for most people. And again, I think she was having a conversation with her doctor. If her doctor recommends that diet for her, I mean, follow your doctor's orders. We don't know what Gwyneth Paltrow is doing behind the scenes. We don't know her personal history. We don't know if she's going through something else in her life. And that's why I don't want to comment on her appearance, even though a lot of people have. But when you look at just extracting the information that she's saying and putting it down on paper, fasting and not eating in the morning, maybe black coffee, sweating and working out vigorously and going into saunas, right? Dehydrating the body even more, having not soup, not like nutritious soup or something of sustenance, but just bone broth for lunch, and then working out more, and then maybe having, you know, a little bit of protein and some vegetables for dinner. If this is every single day consumption of somebody who is running a multi-million-dollar company selling green juice enemas and promoting stickers to cure depression, all of this is unregulated. And a lot of people are spending good money, but spending money on this and self-diagnosing and self-treating instead of actually getting professional help from someone who has studied and passed certifications and exams to help people with their health, with their nutrition, with their mental health. And instead, we have this wellness industry that, again, can be very helpful for some, can be a wonderful thing to supplement into your life. Literally supplement, haha, I get it. But like supplement your life and your wellness routine. But there's a difference between doing that in a very dangerous, expensive, and like celebrity fueled and marketing fueled way versus turning and learning our ingredients, understanding how my body's needs are different than yours, doing things along with the help of data from our own biology, doing that from studies in mental health, and doing that with professionals who have dealt with mental health and physical health ailments, who can guide us through that and monitor our progress and tweak things when they're going wrong to help us achieve optimal wellness. Because what's right for me, both mentally and physically, is going to be so different for somebody else. And that's again why I kind of stopped doing that thing where like I love Dr. Dre, but she takes this 4-sigmatic mushroom stuff. I ended up buying that and I took it. And then I was like, I don't know if this is right for me. Like the mushrooms made me feel weird, you guys. I don't know if you've ever had those mushrooms, but like they made me feel really weird, okay? And that's when I was like, okay, this works for Dr. Dre, but maybe this isn't right for me. And again, I'm really happy. I literally take like 1-2 supplements and then maybe switch it up a little bit during the month, or again, I might try 1 or 2 things that are right for me. It's just crazy to see how that has changed and how far I've been able to come from having the anxiety of wanting to take like 15 pills a day, like 15 random garlic supplements a day, and then, you know, save the wrappers of certain foods that I liked. At least I can talk about it too, because I couldn't do that before. But it's better to talk about it and analyze it and scrutinize it than to try to ignore it or brush it under the rug and not come to terms with how it impacted me or you or someone else. Because if we can talk about it and if we can learn from it and we can grow from it, that's how we make progress, right? Anyways, I'm gonna go put on my eyebrows. I know this is a deep, deep topic, but I would really love to hear your experience with anything like this as well, because I'm sure I'm not the only one that has gone through it, but if we don't talk about it, we don't know if others have gone through it too, right? And like, is it weird? Was it disordered? Am I in a better place now? I don't know. I feel better about my supplement use, but it's just crazy how unregulated some of these industries are, how celebrities will peddle them to us, and like how it can have long-lasting impacts on our bodies, our nutrition, and our mental health overall. So stay hydrated both orally and topically. Always remember to reapply that sunscreen. Again, this is the one I'm using today and I love it. And always remember to be beautiful both inside and out. I love you and I can't wait to see you in this next video. Love you guys. Bye.